Oh, my mug? My Rob Has a Podcast mug. This was our podcaster Christmas gift last year. If I hadn't lost it, I'd be wearing my RHAP hat right now. I realized the minute I got off the train that I'd lost it on the train. And I, of course, reached out to the MTA Lost and Found and never heard anything back. I loved that hat, but I don't need it. So it feels silly to replace it when I can just wear this one that just doesn't say RHAP on it. But I wish I had it. I really liked that hat. This is a Mean Girls hat. Oh my god, the hair. This is secretly a hat from Mean Girls, which I think was our holiday gift from Mean Girls one year. I don't buy things. I just use things that my jobs give me. Yeah, I have a holiday card from the Sesterninos on my fridge that Fail Deadly there asked, was like, why does this say our happy holidays? I was like, because of Rob Has a Podcast. You've heard me talk about this. But yeah, this is my Rob Has a Podcast mug. I don't actually have a post show recaps mug. I think they offered to send the podcasters one, and I was like, I have so many coffee mugs. Yeah. Rob Has a Podcast. Or really, if we're reading the emphasis of the text, Rob Has a Podcast. I apologize that I apparently was screaming into the microphone based on the monitor. We haven't talked about this week's Survivor because I was dead on Thursday and then busy yesterday. Who is Rob? Well, Rob has a podcast, in case you didn't know. Rob, just have to clip this later. You can clip it now, I think. He does run a podcast network, originally based around podcasting about Survivor, which then expanded to other reality TV. It's just Pod Rant. There you go. I podcast primarily on the sister network, post-show recaps, where we talk about scripted television and film and video games. I talk about video games. But it is because of Rob Has a Podcast that I am a podcaster, and thus tangentially also how I ended up becoming a Twitch streamer. So if you check out the Final Fantasy podcast on Post Show Recaps, you will also hear about things happening on RHAP. And that's what this is. Oh, you're on mobile, and it is more annoying to clip on mobile. Totally fair, totally fair. Yeah, the clip of me screaming, Rob Has a Podcast. And just post it on Twitter and tag Rob with no context. I'm just out here to troll people with my Twitch streams. But great product placement for free for him. Do we want to talk about Survivor this week? Is there a lot to be said? It's interesting that with 2 tribal councils, it still felt like the only reality show you watch is Alone. I've never even heard of that. What is that? Oh, awkward silence right after I asked the question. I wish they'd stop splitting the tribe up after the merge. I think that's sort of the general consensus. I know Rob doesn't especially mind it that much. And I do think if they're going to do it, honestly, do it earlier rather than later. Like, let us have normal votes later in the season. But also, why we don't have to do this. I think it worked out this time because both people were probably next to go anyway. Maybe. I think strong possibility Sifu goes. I think we saw what happened at the merge, but I think strong possibility in a full group tribal. Maybe Caleb makes it through because he's with the right people. It's a show about 10 people being dropped at random points in the wilderness and they have to out-survive each other. Oh, that's wild. Okay, I think I have heard of it. I didn't remember that's what it was called. It's tough with one-word titles sometimes that could be anything. Yeah, I want to see the players play too. I guess Jeff loves these small votes because there's like nowhere to hide, blah, 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 whatever. But like, it's hard that they can't maneuver. You're a bit bummed for Jake, who you assume is now in a bad spot. Yeah, it didn't go great, obviously, for him voting with Caleb. Extreme Survivor on Netflix. All these things on Netflix. I may have to get Netflix, which I just don't want to do. But I do really want to watch The Devil's Plan. And there's several things actually that I do want to watch on Netflix. And I'm also probably going to cancel my Max account because I haven't used it in a while. The longest one, 100 days. How did you watch the Netflix Mall? I made a Netflix account for the first time in my life because I'd had Netflix with my roommate who moved out in 2021. And so I paid for Netflix for the first time in my life to watch them all. And when the mall was over, I canceled it. And I still get emails from Netflix like once a week being like, Zed, we miss you. I'm like, no, you don't. You want my $10 or $20 or whatever the fuck it costs now. Okay. They should have had a better read on Katurah. It seemed very obvious that her tone and mood shifted when she confronted Jake about the ring stuff. Yeah, that was rough. I get not telling her the minute that it happened because they literally were about to get on a boat. And then how long has it been since then? It's probably only been like 2 days, but I guess in island time, that's a lot of time. People have said they feel like that she made the right move not going to Rocks, but I don't know if losing Caleb is a good outcome for her. I think it was 24 hours. 1 day between... Well, okay, so they had Bruce found the idol. They went to the Merge Beach. They had their immunity challenge in their split groups. Then they had their tribal council where Jay went home. And then there had to be another day. They went from 13 to 10 and 20. Ugh. I don't like that. But that literally doesn't feel possible. Yeah, maybe 36 hours. So, okay, a day and a half, 2-ish days. Because that would have been morning when he found the idol and they were getting on the boat. Midday merge, night tribal, next day, and then night tribal. Yeah, yes. That's more what I was picturing. Because they don't have off days anymore. There's not time. I wonder if they would ever consider making the season a little longer again as, people operate like COVID is over. I'm not going to say as COVID is over because it's not. But it just... I think the condensation of the time of the play and some of the structural changes that they have made because of that are part of what's leading to more conservative gameplay that I feel like production is trying to switch up by adding more stuff. But I think the stuff is part of what is causing the conservative gameplay because people don't know what's out there, so they don't want to make big moves that could be stymied by an advantage they've never heard of. It's all down to budget and schedule now. Well, I know it got shorter because they had to allot for quarantine time. When they came back for 41, the weeks that were taken away from playing the game were weeks on either end for quarantine. You haven't watched Survivor since 2001. You are in a group of Survivor watchers, Paradox. That is how a lot of us first found each other. They're able to avoid hurricane season with the schedule. Oh, well do that. Taryn says that about Big Brother. it shortens production on time on the island. Yeah, I know they do the 2 seasons back to back, and then they get to go like live their lives for half the year. Which I get, but if it's maybe it's not significantly negatively impacting the product. I just get frustrated about if you've got to get rid of 2 people, this is not the way to do it to me. It's all good. I don't hate the show or anything. I just haven't seen anything in a long while. Which is also a reason. Yeah, they're never going to leave Fiji because they have such a good deal with the Fiji government on their like tax breaks for production. And they just basically have a permanent setup there. Used to production crews out in the field for like 180 days straight. Yeah, they have a lot of, I don't think Hopper's here anymore to hear me say this, but they have a lot of static infrastructure, which is a phrase I love to use. So there's work that they don't have to do over every time because it's just there, which is fine. I miss the different environments. I miss the elements of the game that like integrated with the culture of the location. But, you know, at least 2/3 of the seasons all just look like beaches. So that part is less of a big deal to me. It's better for budget. Do they bowl? What? Does who bowl? Do they... What? Do they now? Do what now? Static infrastructure. You did hear me talk about static infrastructure. But I'm not even talking about oil wells and pipelines. Never heard of her. There is a world where these 2 go home without the trust, though. Hello, Aldo. Welcome in. Thank you for saying hi to everybody. Wait, Mike, what are you saying? Like, I don't think, without the twist. I agree. I think that's possible. But to Rand's point, I feel like just let the players play. You don't need to make things more complicated. Hopper found the emotes. Kind of shrug at the twist. It's certainly more innocuous, if that's a way to say it. Rand is not in Brooklyn. I wish. Rand's in Colorado. It doesn't sound like I should watch Survivor again. Is that what our conversation is making you think? Because that's a bummer. This season actually is the best season since they've come back post-pandemic, for sure. And I still really love the show. But it is like, because it's so good that we have these conversations about what we like and don't like about it, because we want it to keep being the best. You have an Instagram person you can't figure out where they know you from. You don't really wish you were in... I don't really wish you were in BK. You're such an... So am I. You'd invite me out 200 times and I'd show up once for 30 minutes. That's fine. I'm the same way. Hopper miraculously got me to go out for dinner and karaoke last night with their friends. Your oldest, dearest friend is often compared to Bartleby the script. You've said that before, and I don't know what that means. Sounds like you're not enjoying the changes and setting of the show, but if you are enjoying it, then that's all that matters. Yeah, no, there's a lot about it that is really good, and this season especially has been great. And there are some changes that just had to be made in order for the show to be able to keep happening, which is fine. The thing that unites true fans of something is complaining about that something. And I don't think it's even complaining, it's critiquing. It's addressing things that we find frustrating and that we would like to see done differently, especially if we have like ideas of how these problems could be solved. Unlike Big Brother, which we can unilaterally agree is garbage. I'm so glad I never have to watch Big Brother again. I would have felt like I missed out if I didn't watch Suri on it, so I don't fully regret that I watched it, but I am resentful of the fact that I felt obligated to watch it. It was not an enjoyable experience.